Extra, extra, read all about it. There's something interesting that I've noticed here. It's been going on for a little while, and I thought we'd make a little video to talk about it. And that is that the comedians seem to be the new news. you know, Clearly the media landscape is changing. And in my opinion, the reason for that change is because for many of us, we recognize that, up there at the tippy top, there's agendas. And those agendas get pushed out in the form of narratives by the mainstream. And so what was initially there to keep you informed and to provide you with truth about the things that were happening in the world ultimately became an outlet for these powerful people to spin their agendas and push their narratives out into the world. And for a long time, it worked. Most certainly did. I mean, look around. In many ways, that's what got us here to where we're at today. All of that propaganda persuaded the masses for a very long time. But we are thankfully at a new time now. And all that is definitely changing. And that mainstream, it's dying. And in my opinion, soon it will be dead. Probably right alongside the boomers, honestly. But if you haven't noticed, they're, clawing their way, trying to, get in on the new media landscape. That is, the internet through social media and all these other platforms. But I think hopefully their names have been everlastingly tainted in a way that it doesn't matter. We're not watching you on the television, and we're not watching you on the internet either. Okay. You're not dealing with the boomers anymore, moving forward. You are now dealing with Gen X and the millennials and Gen Z, and we see through the smoke and mirrors, and no one cares anymore what you have to say. And I am happy to see these things change for sure. It's about time. And so, yeah, we should leave them right in the dust. And hopefully that's where they'll stay. But anyway, yeah, I think it's very interesting. These comedians, a lot of them stand-up comedians, have rose up in the ashes of the mainstream on these alternative media sources. And, they're talking about very important topics of our day, of our time, the things that are going on in the world. And they're doing it, and they're with a different approach, right? Their approach is to just bring you truth, facts, evidence, things like this. And they lay it before you. They talk about it and they lay it before you for you to decide, for you to come to your own conclusions on the matter. And if nothing else, to walk away more informed and more educated on these type of topics than you were before you stumbled onto them. Now that looks a lot different from how the mainstream provided their information, doesn't it? Yeah. Because for them, it was all about persuading you. And it's through that persuasion that we ended up here where we're at today with all of this stuff going on in the world. Yeah, it worked for a very long time, but it's not working anymore. And a lot of people recognize it for what it is. And they're just not falling for it anymore. I mean, if you've been paying attention at all for the last few years, you've probably seen clips of all these different news outlets all compiled together, spitting out and spewing the same exact script that's all part of a narrative, all at the same time, collectively at the same time, just all scripts. That clearly shows what's going on these networks. And there's only a few of the masters that stand behind it, pulling all the strings, and all these outlets, whether it's CNN or Fox or MSNBC or any of them. It's just the means in which they push their agendas out into the world. And then they use them to control the narratives through their propaganda. Yeah. That's not working anymore, and it's good to see. I like this other approach. I like where you can just go and listen to something that you are interested in, and you get an honest take on it, and you most often get, even differing views, because a lot of times they'll have guests that have, differing opinions, differing views on different topics. And so you get both sides. And that's what you need to come to reliable and trustworthy conclusions, is both sides of the story, right? Because if it's always just your own information bias that you are being, inundated with on the daily, which is exactly what these algorithms do, well, then all it's doing is confirming your bias. And so, yeah, this approach is a much better approach. And so it's through this type of structure and this type of honest debate that I think we can actually begin to enter into a new dynamic of what that landscape looks like in the future. But I just think there's a lot of irony in the fact that it's these comedians that are bringing it to you. I mean, they are in many ways your new journalists. They are the news. They're bringing you more truth in an hour or two on their podcast than what you will get in a whole evening of going through each of the network news channels on your television. You still will not get even a fraction of the amount of truth out of that as you will from an hour or two of a podcast listening to one of these comedians in an evening. And that's why the views speak volumes. No one's watching that anymore. No one cares. No one's listening. They have the public's attention. They are the ones getting all the views. And so it's through that we can be confident, hopefully, that things will begin to change, because it's through that type of dialogue and the exchange of information that true change can come about. And hopefully that's what we'll see here, thanks to these comedians. And I'd just like to name a few here, because I do think they deserve a great deal of respect for doing what they're doing. Because it is through them, single-handedly, bringing you the true information that's changing a lot of what this looks like moving forward. And so you have voices like Joe Rogan, being one of the most distinguished and, most popular. But you also have like Tim Dillon, another one, big, a lot of people getting hundreds of millions of views or whatever on his podcast. A lot of people listening, a lot of people liking Tim Dillon. Sam Tripoli, my favorite, my guy. He's got numerous podcasts. The Tinfoil Hat podcast, Broken Simulation. The guy's got a bunch of them. I can't even name them all, but check them out. I mean, of all, he's the one that I prefer, because I think he digs even deeper into some more serious truths. And honestly, the foundations to a lot of what we are seeing today are underneath the surface of a lot of these discussions that aren't really being scratched deep enough to get to, but Sam does. And so for that reason, I think he deserves even more respect because, you know, he's bringing it completely unaltered to you, and not in a way where he's telling you what to think, but he's just providing all the information to you and allowing you to be the judge, which is exactly how it should be. Right. And then you have like Andrew Schultz. He's another very popular guy, very funny guy that is also doing the same topic, talking about some of these very important, relevant topics of our time, and doing it in a manner that is way more trustworthy and reliable than any of these news sources that we see today or that have been out there for a very long time. And then we also have, lastly, just like Theo Vaughn even has been coming out more recently and talking about a lot of these topics, because I think these people are getting sick of it, and they recognize that they are ultimately a part of this system as well. And so it's through these voices that these things can change. And we all have that voice. We should all be doing it. They just happen to be uniquely positioned at a time and at a place where their voices are much louder right now. And there's a lot of people listening. And I'm glad for that. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. And so kudos to all of them. Props to all of them. Salute to all the comedians. It's not comical what they're doing, but they bring it to you in a digestible format and in a way that I think we can all garnish some lessons from and to, dig some truths out of. And so for that, yeah, props to all them. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting topic to bring up. Hopefully, I delivered. If you found it interesting, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and who your favorite guys are and who you listen to and what you think about this topic. And other than that, yeah. Anyway, like always, gotta say, disclaimer, sorry about your toes if I stepped on any. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Anyway, Thumper out. All right, so when I was putting that video together, I realized I had left out a very important voice here, and not that he needs my promotion, but just with the nature of the material that was covered, I feel like he deserves to be mentioned, and that would be Jimmy Dore. This guy, at least for the last half year or so that I've been following him, has bringing so much truth to the forefront and just destroying the mainstream's narratives. And he also has Kurt Metzger on with him on occasion, and he is an absolute riot, this guy. And so, yeah, if you're not following the Jimmy Dore show, you are absolutely missing out. Listen, when you have this big of a following and you are talking about the types of things that he has been talking about, it takes a set, and I think it's admirable. And so for that reason, I wanted to make sure I didn't leave him out. Jimmy Dore, the Jimmy Dore show, check it out. That's it.